Hey guys, welcome to the Ecom Toolbox podcast with Perry and Kim,
Kim and Perry,
where we open the hood of our own business to show you how we run things and talk to Amazon sellers like you about how to run your side hustle like a real business. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode's at the heart of why we started the podcast. We're going to sit down with Liz and Joel Thompson today, old Amazon friends, very experienced sellers, and talk about their Amazon journey, how they built their business, and what they're doing now. These interviews are meant to make you, the audience, feel like you're sitting down and joining us for a cup of coffee as we share our stories. And so we hope if you're building or growing, that this will make sense for what comes next. So welcome, Liz and Joel, to the podcast.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Hey, why don't Liz, Joel, why don't you guys introduce yourself and kind of give us the 30,000 foot view of how you guys started selling on Amazon?
So we started selling on Amazon back in 2006. So yes, that long, 20 years. And we started on eBay first when I was a stay-at-home mom, and I we just wanted to make a little extra money just to help pay the bills since I was at home with two little kids. And Joel was working for FedEx at the time, and he was able to ship anything in the whole United States for $3. So it made it really easy for us to, ship anything we, could find just, on eBay. And we might have sold like 5 to 10 items a week at the most. And we just started to get bigger and bigger. And then we started hearing about this thing called Amazon. We already knew Amazon existed to, buy from, but we didn't realize you could sell on Amazon. And so the Webkinz craze came along, where those little stuffed animals that came with codes, and you could have your online world of animals. And that's what we started selling on Amazon, were Webkinz, back in 2006. And then we just still were dabbling in it. It wasn't anything full-time at all. But then probably around the same, about 2007 or so, is when I decided I was going to go back to work and have a full-time job, but still do Amazon on the side. And then we were doing both, but I was working for full-time and selling on Amazon. And then around 2011, Joel and I decided that we needed to make a decision if we were going to try this business full-time or if I was going to work and be a mom at the same time. And we decided that I was employable, as Joel's words were. He's like, "You're employable." He was like, "Why don't we just try this whole Amazon thing, see if it works out. And if it doesn't, again, we can go back and you can get another job." And so basically that started in 2011. We started selling on Amazon full-time 2011, and we still are selling full-time. And Joel has left his job, and I'll let him go on with that. He can chime in.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because I know it was after that we met you guys around when we met in person,
Yeah,
2016-ish.
probably, yeah, around that time.
Yeah, I left my corporate job in 2018 and came to work in the family business. That's what we call it now. In 2018, running the operations side of the business, assuming the management area over our warehouse and processing and sending in product.
Hey, can we back up for just a second? Were you guys actively selling from 2006 forward? Because we got our account in 2008, but we
Yes.
didn't use it until 2014.
We never really stopped. So it was more, we were definitely more heavier in Q4 for toys. We were really, really heavy in Q4 toys.
But you were using it regularly since
Yes.
2006.
Yeah, and then I had the Target clearance schedule figured out for their huge clearances that they did in January and July, and I would ask off for those days for my my real job, so that I could hit like all 9 Targets in their area on the day that they did their massive toy clearances.
Did you do FBA back when they first rolled it out?
Yes, we did FBA within about a year of them starting FBA. I was doing MF one year, and we had basically a Target store in our basement pretty much. And I decided everything that did not sell that previous Q4, we sent in FBA, and it was amazing how much quicker stuff started selling versus our, what we thought was going to, be really good for MF sales.
So she's putting a good gloss on it. The average day was go to our corporate job, drop the kids off at school, go to our corporate jobs, come home, fix dinner. Then Liz would go shopping. I would either pack MF orders or do FBA orders. When she would get home with the minivan, I would take the seats out of the minivan, load up a gazillion boxes, run up to FedEx and drop
At
those
midnight.
off
At midnight.
at midnight when FedEx office was called Kinko's, and would drop those off and then come home and go to bed maybe at 1 or 2 in the morning, and then wake up at 6 the next morning and do it again.
Wow.
Before we finish today, one of the things I want to hear from you guys is what it was like scanning back then. What tools did you have? And what did the shipping process, the prep process look like? We don't have to do it now, but I want to hear about
That's
that.
a good question.
Well, obviously, you guys saw a lot of potential in this if you were willing to work like double and triple shifts in order
Right.
to build this business.
Yeah. And also,
Yes, it was the Wild West.
yeah, it was the Wild West. And it was a lot different back then.
So even in 2018 and 2017, when we were doing FBA shipments through ScanPower, the ScanPower sending a shipment in part of it, you would scan a shirt and it would tell you which box to throw it in. There was no prepping. There was no stickering. It was scan the shirt and then throw it in a box and then send it to Amazon.
No
we were also
polybag?
no
No.
polybag. Yeah, no polybags. We were also commingling at the time. We commingled probably all the way till 2018 or 2019. And then
And that's
I thought-
dying any time now,
Yeah,
right?
I
The next
thought
couple
commingling was
years.
like the best thing since sliced bread. I used to think it was the best thing in the world. And then Elsa happened. And when I say what Elsa happened, and people don't know what
Frozen.
happened with the Frozen movie, somebody sent in a massive amount of fake Elsa dolls. And I think it may have been in like an Amazon vendor. I'm not really even sure how they got in there, but thousands of Elsa dolls got thrown into like a commingled batch or something like that. And that was like the start of, I think, the end of commingling for a lot of people, because everyone was selling Elsa. And so like everyone was getting an authentics on a bunch of Frozen stuff back in the day when that movie was really had gotten really popular. But yeah, no, I remember we would buy stuffed animals, and we would literally tie them up in a Kroger grocery bag and just throw them, and like multiple animals in one Kroger grocery bag, just so that into a box. I mean, there was no problem. Amazon had no problem with that. And then they would just, I guess, scan the UPCs if they came. They were not polybagged individually.
Nope.
There was no labels on anything.
Okay,
It was
I want to make a point. Like on X and Facebook, people have started referring to me as one of the OGs. Are you guys out there listening? We're not OG. Liz and Joel are OG. You guys were on the ground floor of FBA
When I tell
when
you-
they started it.
When I tell you there were no roads or highways into Amazon, it was just, oh, look, a polo shirt, Nike, large. Where does the computer tell me to put it? Oh, the box going to Charlotte, drop.
right.
And
I
then
mean,
you would
literally
just
no
do that
problem.
as fast as you could.
Yeah,
And
no-
everything
you
was
couldn't have the
ungated,
box over
right?
50 pounds.
Yeah, everything was ungated. I mean, I still think we never could. Well, we could sell KitchenAid back then. I think the only brand that we've never, ever, ever been able to sell is Levi's. That was never ungated at any time. Except
So it was a big switch for you guys when they started telling you like what warehouse to send it to. Was it?
I think the overall summary of our business is pivoting is the Friends pivot the couch meme, because it's like if you've been around as long as we have, even as long as you guys have, I mean, it's a constant pivot. It's even right now we're pivoting. So it's a constant pivot in like how can we continue to make this profitable? How can we continue to make this work for our family? So yeah, that's kind of been, I think if I had to say an overall summary word for an Amazon business for as long as it's been is the word pivot.
Yeah, I agree. I tell sellers and my employees, if you don't like change, this isn't the right business for you.
Right.
Because it's just
Yeah.
constantly changing.
It's part of our interview process. Are you
Right.
good with change?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so I first met you guys Kim met you in 2015. You all went to a conference while I don't think I had a job, but it was like, you know
might
more
have.
about Amazon.
I feel
It
like
might
you
have
still
been
were
before
working.
I
Yeah, I think you
quit.
still were working.
Yeah. And so she took a teenager, and James was the baby at the time. I
Mhm.
remember she wore superhero shirts like Batman and Captain America shirts at that conference.
It was 2015.
Met a bunch of you guys. And then I met you
Liz, I
online.
think you were the one who pulled me into a group. I was a loner. I was an introvert, not good at mingling. And you kind of grabbed me and said, we're all
Yeah.
going to lunch. Come with us.
Yeah, I think we did that. Yes.
Eating lunch with Kim was one of the only memories that I have at that Jim Cochran conference. I was like, this is so boring. I'm bailing on this.
It was exciting to me. It was my first ever conference. I was seeing all these people in real life that I'd been seeing in the groups. I felt starstruck.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I went to the very first Amazon conference I went to was in Philadelphia. And I forget what there was an organization that doesn't exist anymore, but that's where I met Kelly Loach the first time and Chris Green and Sam Cohen. I'm trying to think of the
What
other
Beaver
people.
was he there?
I don't remember. That's the first time I met Brian Firefelder. So first time I met him. I got to go to his warehouse. Yeah, there's quite a few people but that was the first time I met those people and started some actual relationships with people. Because I remember being like starstruck at like, oh wait, all these people I've been talking to on Facebook, they actually exist in real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and then because of those conferences where you guys met, like to echo what Joel said, there was quite a few people that would pay to go to the conference, but then just network through the whole conference because they kind of evolved past the presentations. And that gave birth to your 10-year-old labor of love, the unconference, right?
right. We went to, I only paid for one Jim Cochran conference, and that was the one in Louisville, even though I live in Louisville. But and I also kind of found it somewhat boring. But the next conference ended up being in Nashville. And so quite a few of us were like, well, we didn't really like our experience going and paying for the conference. And then also the ticket prices like tripled between
Yeah, I remember
Louisville and
that. It was a
Nashville. It was
big
crazy.
jump.
Like $800 or something like that for a ticket. And I was like, Nashville's only 2.5 hour drive for us. And other people actually flew in, and it was at the Opryland Resort, which is if you haven't been there, is a huge, huge hotel. So we just like, well, let's just, we can go to the Young Conference. And we called it lobby lurkers at first. Like, we'll just go lurk in the lobby and hang out. And then like when people come in and out of the conference, we can talk to people at nighttime, just talk.
So is that a thing among other conferences, or did Amazon conference goers coin that term, lobby
I
lurking?
have no clue. I really don't know. I just know that there had been a Facebook group, and the people who were in it, we had called it lobby lurkers.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And the people and like people, and then so that was how it started. And so I don't know, there might have been 15 or 20 people who went specifically as lobby lurkers. And we just hung out on some couches at that conference. And then while we were there, we're like, we should start doing this, on annually basis. And then I was like, yeah, we should. And then maybe a month or two later, I got a private message from Kelly, and he's like, so when are we scheduling that unconference? And I don't think we had coined the term yet. And I was like, you really think people are going to pay money to come hang out with us in Orlando? And he's like, yeah, of course they are. I'm like, yeah, maybe.
You know what cracks me up about this list is that you guys keep it quiet where it's going to be, right? So there can't be any lobby lurkers. You don't want lobby lurkers.
Well, it's not
at the
that.
unconference.
It's more that we want to make sure people actually sign up, and because we were actually buying meals and that kind of stuff, and so it does take. You're right. It is true that
There's deep irony there.
Yeah,
There's
there
good
is.
reason to not have lobby lurkers because you have to plan for attendance and costs and stuff. But it cracks me up that it started as lobby lurkers, and we don't want them.
Yeah.
But
You
for
guys
us,
rent cabanas. We buy drinks. We usually go and have a meal
for
together.
us, we weren't. I didn't really feel like we were like infringing on their conference in Nashville, because like we didn't like try to go and like use any of their
They weren't giving away any free stuff.
Yeah. And so but for Orlando, we were paying for cabanas and paying for some meals and those kind of things. So, we use our money to do that. But yeah. And so the first year there might have only been like 25 people. Maybe, I don't even remember. But it was a very small group. And so the only two people who have been to, well, maybe three. I don't know if Mike Stevens came to the first one or not, but Teresa Stevens and then John Cleater are the only ones that have been to all 10 unconferences, and they both are.
I've been to 9 of them. Okay. I don't
Well,
think I knew about the first one.
You haven't been to 10, so you don't get the special gold prize. There really isn't one.
No sticker for you.
There's no special. No, we didn't make some special stickers, but I did not make any special stickers. But yeah, so this year will be the 10th. The largest one we had was would have been February of 2020, when going into COVID. I mean, we had that's the year that we sold out. Like, we had so many people sign up within like a 24-hour period. We had to stop the signups.
That one was slammed.
What?
That
That's
one was
crazy.
slammed with people.
Yeah, we might have had 150 paid people there. It was big.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but I remember walking into the Disney Springs Hilton and meeting you guys right there in that circular lobby for the first time. And I kind of knew Liz through the very first hotel that we went to
oh
for the
yeah,
Young Conference.
yeah.
But I knew Liz online. I didn't know Joel at all, and we just hit it off right away. Like, remember you had me
Sure
rolling
enough.
on the couches, goofing off there.
Yeah.
I looked at Liz. I was like, he is hilarious. And she's like, try living with him 24/7.
Right. Exactly. That's what I tell everybody who says that. Like, how do you do this all the time? I'm like, I just ignore it right now because it's too much. So
Yeah, well, I want to tell the audience, like you mentioned Brian, you guys started a group around 2015 called RA Secrets, RA Sourcing Secrets. And Kim and I at the time were having trouble breaking into the discount stores, right? And so since at that time I considered her the brains and me the brawn of I was doing all the shipping and handling packages.
Has that changed since I started lifting? Am I the brawn now?
Well, she joined RA Secrets, and then you guys kind of mentored us through not just discount stores, but helped us dip our toes into shoes and clothes. So,
and specifically sourcing higher ranked items. You taught us to see the value in that.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, you taught Kim that I was right because I was already doing it. But
Well, we needed to do it better though. Yeah, I was ready to quit the high ranked items and you guys helped us figure out how to do it right.
Yeah. You just made me think of a lot of different things when you said all that, Perry. But
well, I'm kind of curious, how did you break into shoes and clothes? So I know why we did it, but what made you focus on like variation listings and apparel?
Well, we were
go ahead.
Yeah, we were mainly in toys, and that was our big thing for years. And then we probably started getting into shoes and clothes probably around the time that I went full time in 2011, because toys. Granted, toys do sell year round, but they're more heavier for Q4 for Christmas. And so I guess we just needed to, when I was going to do full time, I needed to find some new things to sell. And I really don't know like what really it'd be interesting to go back and look and see like what the first pair of shoes or first piece of clothing we sold. But we were using the scam. There's so many things that like it all
Right.
just like rolls together. But I do remember. So obviously all of us use the Scam Power app. Scam Power is the best sourcing app out there still, even though there's might be little quirks here and there. But I do remember, I'm pretty sure it was Dong Lee, and we were having a conversation with Paul and talking to him, Paul Rutherford, who is the owner of Scam Power. And I want to say it might have been actually at that Louisville Jim Cockrum conference, because I remember it was a lunch that we were having over at Hard Rock Cafe. And we were telling him that we really needed to know how many variations were on a listing because rank doesn't tell everything. And we had this long conversation with Paul about how, something that's ranked 1 million but only has 5 child variations on it is pretty much the same as a Nike shoe listing that's at 5,000 that has 500 variations. And everything's pretty much selling the exact same consistency with 1 million versus a 5,000 ranked listing. And you have to know how, because if you have 500 variations on the listing, all those 500 variations are pulling the rank down to 5,000 versus if you have 1 million ranked with 5 variations, it doesn't have as many opportunities to pull the rank down. Right. And so that was when Paul ended up adding in variations to the app, which then translated into, okay, well, I don't really care how many variations are in it, how many are active. And so then the app went to where it would say, okay, well, it might have 400 variations, but only 178 are active that are actually helping pull that rank down. So yeah, that's kind of how we got started in shoes and clothes. It was just realizing and understanding rank. And so, I think that pretty much sums that up.
Yeah. We did it because Kim was in all the groups and realized that the more experienced sellers were moving in that direction. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of a hard category to get into at the time because you had to get like category level approval. Once you were in, all the brands were approved.
Did you have to do that, Liz? Create a flat file that was creating a variation? manually?
we're all are automatically approved for everything.
Okay, so
Well,
that's
one
a
of-
newer requirement. I had to do
One
that
of
for
the things
several
that
categories.
happened when we moved into shoes and clothing was it also required more capital because we were not
Yes.
buying $50 and $60 items to flip for over $100 on Amazon. We were buying toys in the $10 to $20 range and flip them back into the $40 to $50 range. So there was also a commitment to having increased capital expenditures to actually get into those categories. So I wasn't completely sold on Amazon and moving that direction. I remember Liz walking me into a store gone by called Tuesday Morning. And she scanned this little Disney digital camera or something, $20 in Tuesday Morning, perfect condition. And she scanned it on Scan Power and showed me that it was selling for over $100. It's like, there's no way you're going to sell that. And I think we sold it within like 2 days of it getting checked in at Amazon. And at that point, I was sold on it. I was like, this will work. But then when she started suggesting shoes and clothing and I started seeing sales for shoes and clothing, I was like, I did not understand it at that point. But then as we moved into it, we left the other categories behind for the most part and focused on shoes and clothing 95% of the time.
That switch was one of our early crisis points. I want to hear, you said it slowed your cash flow down. You had to put more money into capital. How did that feel? How did you navigate that?
I think
that's more of a Liz question because I just handle the operations.
I think
you don't want me balancing a checkbook.
I don't really feel like I ever really felt a real crunch on it because it sold so fast that it was like, how can I buy more? How can I buy more? How can I buy more? It was just like it just kept flowing, and it just the sales happened so fast because again the competition wasn't as high at this point still, right. And so but yeah, we were going into the Nike stores and spending, $30 grand in one day, when they would have the family and friends sales. We would have some of our friends we have one friends that they have 4 kids and like, hey, can you all meet us over the Nike store? We'll give each of the kids a $20 bill just to do a transaction for us. Cause they were only, I think they were limited at like $3,000 per transaction or something like that. And we just like, here's $20, go to this train. Here's $20 in a credit card. Go to this credit train. And the Nike store was completely cool with it, but they just had to have another person do the transaction. And so we're like, hey, meet us over at church. And,
I think on that trip, Liz, we had 10 different people show up at Nike to stand in line.
Yeah.
And then we got that out in 4 or 5 days.
Did that fill your van?
Many times over.
We had to fill it up. We would have an employee who was only there for that day. They were just the van driver. Fill the minivan up, go drop it off, come back, and just keep on cycling back and forth. But I mean, the Nike store is only like 5 miles from the warehouse, so it's not like it was that long of a drive. But we pay people to check out for us. We'll pay people to drive for us. I mean, gosh, that was back in the day when it was much, much easier than it is now. Like if there's a grand opening, I'll bring somebody with me to specifically just do the checkouts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whoever the shopper is shopping.
Well, even back in the Wild Wild West, there would be times where we would rent a Penske truck and go to every Kmart we could in the state of Kentucky and hit their toy clearance. And we would fill it up. We would unload it in our garage, There was one point where we actually had friends that met us at our first warehouse. We bought pizza and we paid $40 and bought pizza and drinks, and they sorted toys for a solid 6 hours.
Yeah.
At what point did you get a warehouse and stuff? How far did you get in your garage? And then
so we were in the garage from till 2011. We got the first warehouse in 2012. It was about 800 square feet, Joel?
Yeah, 800 or 1,000.
Do you remember what your sales level was when you decided your garage wasn't big enough?
Well, the biggest reason for the warehouse was because we were getting some wholesale toy orders.
Oh yeah,
and they would not deliver to residential addresses.
That is right.
So the garage would have worked for the volume they were doing.
It was getting really tight, but yeah, we were good.
We weren't parking in the garage anymore.
Oh yeah,
right.
we have
park in garages. Is that a thing?
No, I forgot about that, Joel. So yeah, I actually had a Fisher Price and a Mattel wholesale account that I got at the toy fair, which I have no clue how I got a Fisher Price and Mattel wholesale account. But I was able to buy from them direct. And and we had pallets showing up from Fisher Price and Mattel. And we got a call from our vendor or the rep that repped for them. Like, you can't have somebody showing up in your neighborhood delivering pallets from Fisher Price and Mattel. And so because that happened, we had to get the warehouse because they wouldn't deliver to us in a neighborhood. But
Well, so that's interesting to me because Kim and I started in RA and we pretty much stayed in OA. Or RA. We've dabbled in a little bit of OA. We've dabbled in a little bit of wholesale. We keep coming back to RA, retail arbitrage. But it sounds like you guys from the beginning, you were into wholesale. I know you do OA.
No, that's a great question. So we were more RA till we did that whole wholesale thing at the toy fair in 2011.
Okay.
And so I did not do well. I thought that
No.
I was buying wholesale in like February, trying to predict what Amazon was going to be out of stock of in December. Because I was like, okay, well, Amazon ran out of these 2 months ago, this past December. So there's for sure going to run out of it this coming December, not thinking that Amazon was smart enough to figure that out. That, okay, well, if we ran out in this December, we're going to order more from Fisher Price and whatever, or Mattel. And
Right.
so we did not
Didn't
do
work.
well with it at all because I didn't predict. I mean, I don't know how I thought I was going to predict
Well,
toy.
we didn't just do
toys-
toy wholesale either. We did food wholesale.
Well, that was a long time after that too.
And we tried to dabble in wholesale, and it was, for the most part, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Liz had even approached a brand and they wanted to sell wholesale food to us. And then Liz got the listing up and running, got it all squared away, gained traction. And that brand came in behind us
And started selling on the listing we
and
created.
started selling on the listing $4 or $5 cheaper than us.
Oh,
And that happened several times with different brands. It wasn't just once. So we've tried toy wholesale. We've tried lots
Food,
and lots
candy.
of grocery wholesale. And I know it works for some people, but it's never been our thing. I mean, we've gone back to it several different times, but it just has not been the best thing. So anyway, so and like you said, like I feel like I always revert back to RA. We still do a lot of OA, but RA just seems to be, because it's the hardest. It's the hardest of the three options. I mean, well, four options if you can.
Which
consider
builds a
private label
moat
too.
around it because a lot of new people coming in my experience, they want an automated business, right? So they think I'll shop on my computer, I'll
Drop shipping.
they want easy money. Yeah.
send it
easy
to a
money.
prep center. It's much lower margin. The competition, in my experience, is higher. Yeah. And again, we know people that do pretty well at it, and we've done it in bits and pieces, both of us, all of us ourselves. But there's just something about the velocity and margins of RA because it's more regional and the selection is more limited than what you can get on the internet, I think.
And it's more physical work. People can do OA in their pajamas at home. Anyone can do it from anywhere. You have to, somebody has to get out and pound the pavement to do RA.
Yeah, so we still do quite a bit of OA, but we are still more RA than we are OA, and 0% wholesale. Everybody else can have that.
I have two questions for you. I'd like to explore, like, as you know, Liz, you quit your job and then Joel quit in 2018. Like, what did that look like in terms of feeling like you were confident in the business? At what point after you quit your job did you say, okay, this is going to work? And then had to go through that again when Joel quit his job because you had a corporate job. I know you had good benefits and you're coming into the family business. Like, did you have to grow at each stage before you got comfortable, or were you just comfortable in the process and you knew, okay, we can make this work?
It's like, it feels like it was so long ago that I don't know how that thought process worked. But I mean, when I left, we had Joel to lean on to for all the benefits. So we didn't have to think about any of that at that point. But when Joel left, that was the big one. And I do remember, because he was laid off. So when he was laid off, he was able to continue his benefits for a certain amount of time after that period. So it might have been like a year afterwards. Yeah. And then the biggest thing is health insurance. That's extremely
Yeah.
expensive. So
He
I
was
think,
laid off. So that jump involuntary? It was pressed on
Well,
you?
it was a
Yeah.
severance. I had a golden parachute.
yeah, I mean, he basically could have stayed, but it was like, okay, well, if you want the severance package, here it is. And we're like, yeah, we want the severance package. I mean, because it was a pretty nice severance package. And so
Sure.
it kind of gave us an opportunity to see if we could make it work. Is again, like, okay, well,
You-
he had his insurance license, and so he could have gotten, a job anywhere within the health insurance industry if it didn't work. Because he
Right.
had already, like, I don't know, there's a bunch of tests he had to pass to get that. And so yeah, so it was kind of like we had an ability to fall back on again if it didn't work.
Sure.
But then 2020 happened. But can I jump into that, or did you have another
Sure.
question?
Yeah, no, that's
So
great.
anybody who's been around since 2019 knows that 2020, at least for us, I assume it was for you guys too. I'm not sure if it was for you guys too or not, but it was the best year ever. And
5 quarters of Q4.
it was exactly 5 quarters of Q4. That's a good way to put it. No one knew in February 2020 what was about to happen in the next 5 quarters of Q4, basically.
Right.
And so at
Well,
first,
I remember sitting at the unconference in February, end of February 2020,
mhm,
and people were just starting to talk about
right, the
COVID,
opportunities, the
right?
possible
And
opportunities. Yeah.
and we were sitting there, and I was watching people talk about hunting for masks and gloves and
Yeah.
hand sanitizer. And then when we came home, and it turned out to be a blessing, like somebody else had cleared out San Antonio of all the gloves, masks, and hand sanitizer. So we never really got into that. But
Yeah.
after that, when the shutdown happened, suddenly you couldn't go to the store. People were just looking online for everything.
Yeah. I wasn't interested in getting into all that stuff. I didn't want, I felt like that was in my whole opinion. I just didn't want to get into the stuff that I felt like actually were necessity items at that
Right.
time. So we took a different route. And so I do remember, I don't know if y'all remember this in RA sourcing, but I had said, Joel and I worked all weekend one weekend. It was a Saturday, Sunday. And I was like, I know that Amazon is going to shut FBA down. I know they are. I know they are for our inbound. I was just, I was like, I don't know why I had this feeling, but we are not going to be able to send all this product that's in our warehouse. And I was like, we are going to create shipments and get all this stuff out on Monday. And we did. And that's what happened. That Monday or Tuesday, they shut down all non-essential inbound FBA. And I was like, it was Rachel Goodlett. I remember she had posted in our RA group like a picture of a what's the ball, like a fortune ball, saying like
Oh.
Magic 8 ball.
Magic 8
yeah,
ball?
magic ball, like something like that, or like the witch that hovers over the
Oh.
ball.
Oh, the crystal ball.
Yeah, yeah. And she's like, everybody listen to Liz. It's like, because I remember that happening, and we got everything in that we had in our warehouse because you could not send in any more, which I understood why they did it, but I was glad I predicted that one right. But then we had just hired our warehouse manager about 2 or 3 weeks before all this happened, and we're like, well, what do we have to do? We can't buy any product. All the stores have closed. And, what are we going to do now? We cleaned our entire warehouse. There was literally nothing else to do besides like counting paper clips. And I remember I was sitting on my couch and I got a call from DG Johnston, and she was like, obviously I couldn't tell this then, but I can tell it now. But she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, you need to go out and buy puzzles. And I'm like, puzzles? I'm like, well, I'm going to go I was like, which ones? She's like, all of them. And I was like, so I get online, I started typing in puzzles and like different brand names on Amazon. I'm like, looking at all the prices. I'm like, I was like, it was like 10 o'clock and my adrenaline just going, 10 o'clock PM. I'm like, I want to go to Walmart right now and start buying all the puzzles. And that next
Hold on,
day,
hit pause right there. So when Liz approached me about Dee Dee's lead on puzzles, again, I was not sold on it. I was like, there is no money in puzzles. This is going to be dumb. And so Liz showed me a couple of prices. I said, well, we can dip our toe in and see what happens. And so keep going, Liz.
So anyway, so since the kids were out of school because COVID, shut down the
Said
schools.
wink, wink. I'll go buy 5 or 10. Right?
Right. No. So I started going to the different stores, and though the stores were open. So the stores that were open at the time would have been like Walmart, Target, Meijer, those places. Not everywhere was open. And so we just try to figure out all the stores that actually were open and selling puzzles. I even emailed Tuesday Morning Corporate to ask them if they would open their stores just to sell me their puzzles. And they're like,
That's bold.
I did. And they replied back, no, they're closed. So anyway, we bought them all. We drove around all the entire state of Kentucky. We were selling 200 puzzles a day. I have no clue how we got them all. We had people who
Merchant fulfilled, right?
you couldn't, yeah,
You
that
had
was
to.
not, yeah, you had it was all MF. We had pictures and pictures of stacks and stacks and stacks of puzzles going out. And because people were bored and they had to have something to do. So they were paying like 3 times the price we were paying for these puzzles. Sometimes probably 4 times the price. We had a whole system going with several of us. If we oversold one, I'm like, hey, you're on this listing. Can you ship this for my customer? It was crazy. And so, yeah. And so the most fun part was we finally realized the whole curbside pickup started up because, some of these stores that had to be closed, they were non-essential stores like Barnes and Noble. They weren't allowed to open to the public, but they were allowed to do curbside pickup. So we were placing curbside pickup orders at every single Barnes and Noble within like a 3-hour radius of us because they had the good puzzles. They had the Ravensburger puzzles.
Yeah.
And I had people driving to Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Nashville just to pick up Barnes and Noble store pickups or curbside pickups.
Easy.
Yeah.
And
So
so,
all in on this.
oh yeah, it was great. And so, yeah. And so then the next thing, I don't know, what
Did
was
you
your
get stuck with any of those? Did they all sell,
Oh, they
or
all
did you get
sold.
stuck with a few at the end?
I mean, we might have had a few at the end, but it was so profitable. I could have thrown them in the garbage can. I wouldn't have even cared.
Just stragglers, not any
Right. I'm
nothing
like,
significant, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
What was your all's biggest product during that time?
Well, so what happened to us was I had hired the Fort Worth team plus our son-in-law to source there and ship. And I had increased Miguel's budget down in Houston. And we had doubled our inventory in the first quarter before the shutdown.
And we had a bunch
Kim-
of local shoppers.
Yeah, we had 7 or 8 local shops. Kim was kind of mad at me because we had no cash. Like I just blew up the budget. We doubled our inventory in Amazon. And when the shutdown hit, we had about $20,000 worth of shoes in the warehouse that we merchant fulfilled. So that let me keep my 2 or 3 best shoppers busy and my warehouse manager just doing merchant fulfilled orders. And then we slowly started sending people out and just doing a little bit of everything. Big Lots and Walmart were big, toys.
Yeah, Ollie's was open still.
We didn't have an Ollie's back
Okay.
then. Yeah.
We
But-
became really good at Ollie's because it was like one of our only stores we could actually shop at. So we're like, well, we have to shop here because it's like the only one open. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did some research and I had to write all of my employees' notes that said this person is an essential employee because
Yeah.
I mean we were doing some like toiletries, health and beauty kind of stuff, toothpaste and deodorant and things from these stores. But
But we
mostly it
didn't go
was just
crazy on them like you did
Yeah.
on the puzzles. Our biggest
Yeah.
win, I think, was mostly just selling through our surplus of inventory. Everybody else was running out of all the normal stuff, the shoes
Right.
and some clothes and everything that we had in stock. Everybody else was running out, and we had tons of inventory. So our prices were just going up and up.
Yeah.
And we were selling all this stuff and not really spending a lot on inventory. So we stacked a lot of cash during that period.
Yeah.
That's
So
what I
during the
did.
shutdown, we sold half our inventory, came out of the shutdown with more inventory than most people had.
Yeah.
We still had like the previous year's amount of inventory in stock and a bunch of money where we could go out and start sourcing again.
Yeah. So, and then the other 2 big products we sold during that time were pools, our backyard pools, because it was too dangerous. It was too dangerous to go swimming because of COVID. And so everyone was buying backyard pools and anything related to water. It did not matter what it was. If it was a tiny backyard pool to a sprinkler to whatever it was to keep your kids entertained because they've been locked up in their house for so many months.
Right.
And
And
then
we were very gracious to other buyers, like regular buyers walking into the stores
Oh,
to
yeah.
buy something. I would offer them, would you like to buy one? Because I'm taking the rest of them. I wouldn't just hoard them and say, tough luck, go buy them on
I mean,
Amazon.
we were hoarding them once we got them at our warehouse, but I mean, if somebody else wants them in the store, I'm going to share. But
Yeah,
but anyway,
exactly.
and then the last thing was sidewalk chalk. Sidewalk chalk was, I mean, we buy it for $6 and sell it for 60. I do not get that either. So when I see sidewalk chalk, that was
Yeah,
huge.
that's
And we
crazy.
missed out on so many things. I mean, I find people, everyone, the one thing we missed out on was all the sewing stuff. I did not even touch anything related to the sewing aisle. And like,
Until later in it, we started doing yarn
oh yeah,
and
later on.
stuff like that. I mean, you're selling a $4 roll of yarn for $15
Yeah, that was
and it
bad.
weighs like 6 ounces. We were
Right.
just rolling through that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, so that was a great time. And same thing, we were able to stack up cash to move on to what you all are asking us about our warehouses earlier. So we had been in the 800 square foot warehouse. We had during COVID time, we were in a 2,500 square foot warehouse. We were still renting all during this time. And then that COVID money which enabled us to be able to purchase our own warehouse, which that's where we are now. And so we've got a 4,000 square foot warehouse. It's probably about 1,000 square feet of office space to like 3,000 square feet of warehouse space. And it's all air conditioned. So that was huge because that was the first time we had a place that was fully air conditioned and heated. So that's where we've been since June or July of 21 is when we moved in there.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about a little bit about your origin story, and we talked about your success during COVID, but I'm really curious. You guys have had to have seen a lot of changes in the tools over the last, 20 years. Like, was there even a Keepa when you started in 2006?
I don't remember there being Keepa. I don't really remember when I started using Keepa. But when ScanPower has always been my go-to app. I've never, ever, ever used another sourcing app. The only time I guess used Scatify with Inventory Lab was when we were using Inventory Lab, and I would use it as a backup if ScanPower was down for some reason. And I did not like it. So, but yeah, so I think because I was one of the original OGs of ScanPower, I had Paul and Chris Green's ear. And so I would able to hey, can you make the app do this? Hey, can you make the app do this? And like pretty much every single time I asked them to do something, it happened.
So you basically built the ScanPower app.
Yeah, I guess. And
The
so
user interface. You designed the user interface.
yeah, definitely. And so that's why some people refer to ScanPower as Liz Power, John Cleater. But so anyway, yeah. So I mean, I'm almost every iteration like of ScanPower we've been through. But when we first started using ScanPower, I remember you got like your first 200 scans for free, and so it was like so it's like to show you how ScanPower worked. And so that I do remember like having that like thing where you got your first however many it was scans for free. And I remember I would go sourcing with our son, who's now 22, when he was like 8, and he was using ScanPower, at the age of 8 and understood how to use it. Yes, it's funny. I'll go back and I'll see old posts. They'll have like screenshots from ScanPower. I'm like, oh wow, it's like that is an old screenshot. Showing you how the interface used to look and stuff.
Well,
But I think
did you have any data other than just rank back in originally, or did you even have
not
rank?
really. It pretty much just rank
It
and like profit.
It was a
Right.
gut instinct.
Yeah, it was more
Wow.
rank and profit. There was a time where they would tell you the seller and how many they had in stock. And that went away because Amazon told them they had to take that down. I don't remember why, but
Because he was using too much of the API feed
yeah, I'm
when
not
he
really
was
sure
constantly
exactly.
pulling that back.
But yeah, so yeah, I think our main tool then, and it still is for RA, is going to be ScanPower. I mean,
Yeah.
100%. And then we used to use Inventory Lab to ship in, and then we switched to ScanPower because it was at some update where when they were switching it, where you had to like do like 3 boxes and it couldn't all go in one box. So they started in split shipments, and you didn't have a choice to do split shipments. And ScanPower had a solution, Inventory Lab didn't, and we're like,
The live workflow, right? Versus
something like that.
the private workflow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yep,
Inventory
sure
Lab
enough.
they didn't like even like announce what they were going to do till like the day before. And so a lot of people jumped ship and started using ScanPower to ship in. And then you get used to something and you're like, why would I go to something else when this is working well enough?
Yeah.
So
Did you never use Scan and Ship then?
we did. Yes. That was like that awesome thing that was like a workaround that we were all using because we were trying to save
Yeah,
money
and
and stuff.
Seller
Yes, we did.
Central.
We used that until till it died. Yes, we did use that.
Okay.
And so yeah, that was not a very fun day when that died.
So do you feel like you have a lot more data now? Like, do you
Oh
make
yeah,
more data-based decisions?
yeah, yes.
I know we do.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there are so many things like for the fact that, just all the different pieces of like, so the things that I use, like, so I just went shopping yesterday just because I was out in the stores. And I mean, I think the big things that help me make a decision in purchasing an RA is going to be the rank, how many current sellers are on it, how many variations of the total variations are actually active on that listing to help you decide what the rank is. My own, history and knowing, okay, this brand sells
Experience.
well, experience.
Yeah.
What other things? I mean, I never, there's some people that say like they click on the keep a chart on every single purchase. And I never do that. I never ever
No.
look at, I mean, I might look at the chart on the bottom of the screen, but I rarely am going to click on it to look at the details.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one cool thing about the current ScanPower mobile is they build a Keepa chart for
Right,
you from Keepa data
right.
under the fold, right?
Yeah.
So you
Well,
don't
then,
have to click over to Keepa
yeah.
unless you're
And it gives
doing
you the
a
30, it gives you the 30, 90, 120, and 365 average selling price,
and rank.
and rank, right? There's so much data on the app. Like I said, I don't even know other apps are out there that might even give you that same amount of data. But
Yeah, and something we use heavily is the whatever date range you select, 30, 60, 90, 180,
mhm,
360. It shows you how many sales you had in that amount of time, and it shows
right.
you how many returns you had in that amount of time too.
Exactly. Yes. And then the thing that I am really, really, really good at is using ScanPower Notes. I'm not sure what other apps have a notes feature that you can put in there. So ScanPower has a notes feature where you can do it ASIN based, title based, brand based, and category based now. So say like I want to tell all my, well, when we had a lot of shoppers, like don't buy this brand anymore because it's a 50%, like all we're buying dresses. And we haven't talked about Amazon flips. I can't do those either. I'm not very good at that. But when I was doing Amazon flips and we would buy like really nice, like dressy dresses, like, prom type dresses. And they were like, it's like an 85% return rate. So
Yeah.
we were like, don't buy this brand anymore or whatever it was, or like, for example, if we're buying leather handbags, you can put a note in there for every single time, this brand comes up, please make sure there's no scratches on the leather. Or you all do notes too, but we
Yeah.
also took
I
it to
didn't know you could do them for category.
they
What do you
just
do there?
changed. That was a new update
Did
yeah,
you
you can do
ask for it? Was it one of yours?
it actually wasn't. I think it had to do with the fact that Walmart calls it categories. I'm not really sure, but it is new, and so you can do category notes now. And then like Walmart, since Walmart, so you can flip back and forth on Walmart and Amazon for the Scan Power app. So because Walmart doesn't show restrictions yet, now you can do brand notes and say like this category, like this brand is restricted on Walmart. So that way your shopper knows, okay, don't buy this because for Walmart, but you can't sell on Amazon. Um,
Right.
and so yeah, so there's a lot. But what I want to say is that about the Scan Power Notes is that we took that to the extreme, or I did, and figured out a lot of our manual lookups. If you're just like typing in like, I don't know, a coffee mug and it doesn't have a UPC on it, then you can like type in like you can make a note that will show up with, for example, okay, say like it's Mickey Mouse mugs. And there's like 10 different ones that and all of them are manual lookups. You can make your note pop up with all 10 ASINs and just click on an ASIN and it will pull up the listing.
Yeah, and the
Nice.
ASINs are hyperlinked to pull up in Scan Power with that specific
Really?
ASIN that you tap on.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, that's
actually
really
thinking
cool.
about selling Liz's Scan Power notes for about $15,000.
Yeah. I
It's a
have
lot of money, but you only need one buyer, huh?
I have so many notes that it takes my like notes feature like about 3 minutes to pull up every single time I have to open up the back end to add more notes in there. But
It's a
yeah,
cheat code for an old Nintendo game, is
it's
basically what
basically
it
it's
is.
basically you're creating your own VLOOKUPs in Excel, like an Excel VLOOKUP. So you can put in there, okay, for these ASINs, I want this note to show. So if you have like, or even like Ralph Lauren sheets, you're buying those at TJ Maxx. None of those have UPCs on them. Well, you can go in there and put like, okay, if you find like the gray stripe pattern, you can put for the gray stripe pattern, this one here's the ASIN for twin, queen, full, queen, king. And then that way you're not having to sit there constantly typing it in and manually typing in gray stripe sheet set queen, And it's just a note is just there. I have got notes for every single manual lookup you can possibly think of at TJ Maxx and Marshalls and Ross and those stores.
Never would have thought to use it that way.
Oh yeah.
Hey guys, I'm going to duck out for just 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
All right.
But yeah, so we've done that with tons and tons and tons of different manual lookups.
Joel's out managing the warehouse, isn't he?
Yes. I'm at home.
Yeah.
I work from home.
Yeah, same. I'm in my back cave over here, and she's at the house. So in the conversation, you guys have mentioned Walmart and eBay. You obviously have a multifaceted business. I'm really curious, like, what are you guys doing on eBay, for instance?
eBay is mainly like I told you all earlier, we started on eBay, and then once Amazon started ramping up, we ignored eBay. eBay became like our own, like we bought like 3 things personally for ourselves within a year. It was like we just completely ignored eBay. Then at one time we started, there was some service that like cross-listed all your Amazon to eBay, and we tried that for a while, and it was like, they would do the MCF orders from Amazon inventory, and it didn't go that great.
Joe Lister was one. Was that what you used?
It might have been Joe Lister. That might have been one, because it doesn't exist anymore, whatever we were using. And so Joel just got our eBay ramped back up in the last year. And so we were using a consignment service to sell all of our returns to. And then we had people who were buying our consignments to sell on eBay. And we're like, why would we were selling them for really, really cheap and in this consignment sale. And we're like, why don't we just sell them on eBay ourselves? And so whenever we would have downtime, or we would have a college student working for us during the summertime, we're like, hey, there's the eBay pile, list eBay for us for the next 3 months. And so, and it's not, life-changing money at all. But Jill just found like 4 amplifiers we had sitting in our warehouse. They're Amazon flips that, and we get an IP claims on. And so they've just been sitting there. And so he just sold them all for $300 a piece on eBay because he found them in a pile. So, I mean, it's just a way. eBay to right now is just mainly as a way to get rid of old inventory, returns, that kind of stuff. eBay in no way is a place for us at this point to sell. It's like, oh, let's buy this to sell on eBay.
Right.
So we're not there.
Yeah, but I definitely think people shouldn't sleep on that as an avenue for liquidating and moving inventory that they can't move on Amazon or Walmart.
Yeah.
Right.
That's basically, I think that's kind of how it is. And so we just realized we need to use this other option because it's continual pivot. And so, but it's doing well enough to continue doing it. And so maybe we'll get like 2 or 3 sales a day on eBay right now. And then, but just like plug in for Greg Perry. You all might have heard of him before, but he has a great YouTube channel for eBay. If you've ever been to eBay ever wants to watch, that's where Joel, eBay post.
Someone just sent me one of his videos last night about listing creation. Or I think Joel did actually.
Probably was him. Joel really likes Greg's videos. There's a couple. If you remember when he pops back in, there's a couple other channels he watches, but he is obsessed with watching YouTube channels about how to make your eBay store more successful. One tip I know that I've heard from multiple people on eBay is that you do not want to go in and say you're like, okay, today's eBay day. Let's list all of our 50 to 100 items in our pile. No, you want to create 50 to 100 drafts and post 2 per day.
Drip them
2
out.
to 3. Yeah. And because it looks like to eBay that you are constantly involved in your store rather than posting everything at one time. You want to do like I said. So our goal is more or less that he tries. So right now he said we have 100 drafts on eBay right now. And he's just every morning he just throws 2 or 3 up. So it makes eBay look like we're listing new things every day.
Yeah. You got to feed the algorithm, huh?
Right. Yes, the algorithm. And that was a tip from Greg Perry that he had learned. So
yeah. Well, so we can come back to eBay when Joel gets back, but in the last few months, you started offering coaching to other sellers, right?
Yes. Yeah. From when we all decided to stop the RA Sourcing Secrets group for multiple reasons, I decided that, I really do enjoy this business still, and I would love to teach people what I know. I've got 20 years worth of Amazon knowledge in my head that I can hardly ever remember what I do know until someone like now asks me questions. And one thing I know that I really do excel in is listing creation. And before this call, I was like, let me see how many of our sales just from the past 3 days have we sold on Amazon of listings. I've made. And 35% of our sales just in the last 3 days are listings that we completely brought to the platform.
How'd you identify that?
So how did I identify it?
Yeah. How did you
Figure out.
sort or filter which
Oh, I
ones you
didn't.
made versus
I just
the ones you
immediately
didn't?
did it. I just went like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how I did it.
So you don't put anything special in the SKU to show that
No,
it's one you
I
made.
just know what I created when I was like scanning through stuff.
So wait,
So,
are you deleting them when you're done with them then?
am I deleting the listings?
Yeah.
No, they're once a UPC is on Amazon, it stays there.
But when you
Yeah.
do you delete SKUs from your inventory?
I mean, like we're sold out of them. Yeah. What do you mean? Like, I don't know what you mean. Like in
Well,
terms of,
some of the information's usually lost if the original creator deletes the SKU from their inventory.
oh yeah, that can happen. Especially if you are the owner or the parent. So my account is holding together probably 50% of the Amazon catalog right now.
That's why I was asking when you said you didn't have any kind of coding in there to show that these are the
I
ones
know.
you're creating. How are you not deleting them all?
I was on a coaching call and the guy was like, "You have 15,000 SKUs?" I was like, "Yeah, like no." I was like, probably 10,000 of those SKUs are just placeholders holding parent ASINs together right now. And it's just there's no point in deleting that stuff because then I have to go and create it again, you know? So for example, I mean, one brand we create a ton for is Carhartt. I mean, so all I do is we buy brand new colors and
Oh yeah.
No, we don't.
I want to personally thank you for that.
making new Carhartt listings.
Yeah.
All the
Okay.
listings, anything new.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And it's really not that hard once you figure it out. I mean, there are so many pieces that are involved in creating a listing. It's not just let's create a listing. There are people out there that say should not have listing creation permissions because they just don't do a good job of it. But Amazon has their AI tool is really, really nice. They have it, you just literally you can put in like, I don't know, a Coach purse, whatever it is. And we can't sell Coach anymore, but help Calvin Klein purse. And you just pull in 2 to 3 images and you just push the button and it fills out the whole template for you with their AI tool. Some of it's not completely accurate, but it's really easy to scan through it to figure out what isn't right.
And
Right,
it's come a long way in the last
Right.
year.
Yeah. Harry, what were you about to say?
Well, I was going to brag on you a little bit, first of all, because like if we have a listing question, Kim is always telling, oh, I need to ask Liz that, right? Like
Yeah.
you're one of the top experts in catalog management that we know, but also your expertise goes beyond just creating new listings. Like you work on broken listings. What else do you like? Can you help people with?
Yeah, I can help people determine what their orphans are, how to fix those orphans, how to pull a current parent in. So like you're out in the store and you find the orange version of the shirt and it has the other 7 colors on it, how to pull that orange shirt because you have to actually pull the parent ASIN into your inventory first before you can start adding in the orphans. You have to be an owner of the parent. Now, I will tell you from some consulting experience I've had recently, Nike is a very protected brand by Amazon. So it's extremely difficult to do that, to do all that stuff with Nike. But it's pretty easy to do it with what I would call a secondary brand like Carhartt. I have no issue. I can do Carhartt all day long, fix those listings. And there's many, many, many other brands that we're doing. So there's lots and lots and lots of tricks. First of all, you have to be able to even get approval to correct a brand. And there's, pieces involved in doing that. And then you've got all the way down to, adding new ASINs in. And one thing I get asked a lot is like, well, are you doing advertising on the stuff that you're creating? What are you doing to get traction? And we do nothing. We just let Amazon take care of it and it sells. And it's a lot of experience in knowing what sells. But
Right.
but yeah.
We're the same way. Like we've never really we've dabbled in advertising for RA penny campaigns and stuff, but it never really, if you're buying a known brand and adding a variation of a popular product, you don't need to advertise that to get traction, do you?
No, not at all. And so that's what I'm going to talk about the whole pivot. Like our big pivot right now is because so many brands have gone restricted. I'm like, okay, well, what brands can I make listings for? And so that's my pivot right now. I'm like constantly, all I do is create listings. And yeah, you could hire, and I have, and our employee does it too. And so does our daughter, Sarah Kate, she makes listings for us. Like I just got a text from our warehouse lead, and she took all the pictures of a bunch of coffee mugs that we just bought. And so that way Sarah Kate can now tonight, while she's sitting in her dorm, can make us listings for all the coffee mugs and they can be ready to go tomorrow morning.
So when people run into issues trying to correct listings or make new listings, you have tricks to help them get approved to do that.
Right.
I think that's really, really powerful.
Yeah. A lot of people like they can't even get past step one, which is like
Amazon says, no, you're not authorized.
Like you want to like go and fix a Puma listing, and Amazon's like, well, you have to have approval to do that. And there's a lot of tricks involved figuring out. It's so easy once you know what to do. But yeah, I've got those up here in my head. Yeah, and so I've had, you know, a lot of success, and it's so successful that it makes me want to continue just doing listing creation. So that's where the OA comes in. I'm using the OA. I buy OA and then make the listings, and then, you know, then we're shipping it into FBA.
So if people hire you for coaching, you'll show them how to do this, but do you also just offer done for you service? Will you create listings?
I'll do
for
both.
them?
I'll do both. Yeah.
Fix listings for them.
Mm-hmm.
We might have to talk to you about that.
Yeah, I'll do both. And then one other thing I was thinking about the AI thing is that ChatGPT has made Amazon listing creation, it makes it so much easier. And so we use Chat. I pay for the premium version of Chat just for listing creation. And so we have it removing backgrounds, creating real world images, like, hey, put this sheet set on a queen bed for me. And it makes it, you know, a nice little real world image. And then the SEO keywords, that's the biggest one. Chat makes all of our keywords. I've tried Grok didn't do as good as Chat. So I'm sorry.
Right and true. Huh?
Yeah, I wanted to use Grok, but it does good.
And I don't want you to name your coaching price here because I think it's too low. I think your prices are really, really reasonable, really cheap for what you do.
Thank you. But yeah,
hey, she still charges me. Her prices are not reasonable.
Yeah, he cooks dinner for me. I'll let him cook dinner for me for the services.
Make your listings if you make me ribs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So one more thing about that is that, so another thing that's involved in listing creation is going to be putting there's flat files involved. There's using Keepa to figure out what orphans are even in your inventory. Most people don't even know what ASINs they have that are orphaned. And so then it's like looking at ranks and reviews to like kind of plug in some old ASINs into your parents to bring those rank and reviews into them, even though if you have like no plan on selling those ASINs. There's a lot of tricks you can get involved to get a listing going on Amazon. So
very cool. Yeah. Well, this would be the natural place to ask you, how do people get a hold of you if they want to hire you for that?
I do have a Calendly. I can send you my link to Calendly. And then they can Facebook friend me or message me on Facebook. Or
cool. So I'll put your information in the show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Well, guys, it's been great. It's been a great hour. A lot of informative conversation, fun reminiscing about the good old days. Did you ever think that when we all started, we'd be the grizzled veterans reminiscing about the good old days?
I know, is that funny? Yeah, because the coaching I've done so far is for like young 30-year-olds. I'm like, I feel like their mom at this point. But
I think one thing to convey to a lot of sellers, especially the new ones, is it didn't just happen. It was a grind. It wasn't working 30 hours a week wanting to make $100,000. It was working 60 to 80 hours a week, raising a family, having a side hustle that was called your real full-time job. And then we're at the end of a lot of hard work. Liz has really dug in, and it requires study. It requires trial and error, and you have to take risks.
A lot of risks. And I think whenever I talk to anybody like that, go, how did you start in this business? And the biggest thing, my number one thing I say, it's a hobby that accidentally turned into a business. I mean, it was never my intention. We ended a career day at the kids' school before, and we're like telling these kids that whatever career you think you're going into, the career you might end up with might not even exist today. So when I went to college, Amazon didn't exist. It still was in Jeff Bezos's garage. So like you couldn't major in e-commerce back in mid 90s when I was in college. And that's as old as I am. But so you have to think about like, whatever you might be doing 5 years from now, it might not even exist because AI is going to take over the world.
Right. That's more true now than it ever has been before, I think.
But yeah. So
All right. Well,
but yeah, it was a good time. Good time.
yeah. All right. Take care, guys.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, everybody.